We have issues that cause our deals to die as sales reps. Some of these issues we know about, some of these issues we don't know about. But what if there's a way that you can identify the top reasons why your deals are dying and you could remedy them? You could start preparing and fix them before they even become real issues. Wouldn't that be helpful? Wouldn't you be happy? Well, in today's episode, my friend George Bronton is going to lay out exactly what those top 3 issues are killing your sales deals and how you could go about fixing them. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you to evangelize another great topic. And if you're watching one of our videos for the very first time, I ask you to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit that chime as well, and we'll notify you whenever we produce another amazing video. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You count on that, dude. All right, in today's episode, we're going to have a great conversation. It's a past guest. His name is George Bronton, and George is going to he's the CEO of a company called Membrane, and it's not the traditional CRM. It's a little bit more intelligent, and as we start off the episode, I wanted to pick George's brain about that, and he tells us a little bit about it, but then we go into his experience working as a sales rep, running organizations, and seeing some of the mistakes that he has made, those 3 main issues that are killing deals, and how these could be affecting you as well. By the way, I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Pipedrive. They're giving us an offer, and you'll see that offer as well down in the notes. If you check it out, you can get a 30-day trial of Pipedrive, and plus the first 3 months with 25% off. That's not a bad gig. So check those folks out, that Pipedrive. See the link down below. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Welcome to the show, George.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Oh, man, of course. I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to pick your brain and get a chance to touch base with you. But first off, I want to congratulate you on your book. So great job on that, man.
Thank you very much. Hard work, as you know.
Yeah, we know that struggle of pushing through with the book. So we're excited to celebrate that with you. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about what's causing us to kill these deals. A lot of sales reps are killing deals and don't know why or how they're doing that. But before we get into all of that good stuff, I want to hear about you. Tell us a little bit more about what you do right now, George.
Yes, I'm the founder and CEO of Membrane.com. And we call ourselves a sales enablement CRM. So basically what we have done is we've built the CRM as it should be. So it's a CRM. Yes, we have all the contacts and all the information like that, but what it has that others lack is the how to. How should we sell? What's important? How can I be guided and helped and coached in my B2B sales environment? So I'm the CEO of that, and we're driving that company forward, signing up a lot of new customers and partners around the globe. So lots of fun.
Well, awesome, man. Well, congratulations. And we'll make sure to link back to Membrane in the CRM, in the show notes.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Get access
Thanks.
to it there and learn a little bit more about it. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, just go ahead down below and you'll see the link where you get a chance to connect with George and check out the CRM and some of the great tools that they're offering. But George, deals. We're in a situation right now. Deals are dying left and right. This is a global pandemic when it comes to sales deals. How can it be? But, in all seriousness, a lot of people, sales reps, I think we're in a different era. The pandemic has put us in a whole different era, a whole different way of doing things. And salespeople typically have deals that don't make it, but I think even more so, we see more and more deals that are falling off and not getting past to the right level. So I want to hear from you today and get some insights. What are the top 3 things that you see that are killing sales deals for B2B sales reps? And then maybe we could discuss each of those. Does that sound fair enough?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I wrote the book before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And actually, I had people tell me that I shouldn't call the book Stop Killing Deals because using the word killing in the middle of a pandemic might not be wise. But I decided to use it anyway. I think we are killing deals and not, of course, now the situation is very, very special and different than usually. But I think even before the pandemic, what caused us to kill deals is just, in many ways, it's just assumptions. different types of assumptions that we make as human beings. I write about in the book how I made some really stupid assumptions like 10, 15 years ago when I was growing another company. And that was that I was assuming that salespeople are somehow born. Like
Mm.
you either can sell or you can't. And that's how I went about hiring. I was just trying to find those people who were born salespeople.
What were you
Uh,
looking for in that scenario with, because I know I know this is something that many individuals have fallen in. I fell into that same category when I was learning about sales in college. I was like, well, you gotta have it, right? But
yeah.
what did you look for when you saw someone in the
Great question. So I guess I was looking for those traits that you had sort of learned were salesy traits. So very extroverted, social people who also were very competitive by nature. So they wanted to win. They wouldn't take no for an answer. Just looking for that win. And when you look at sales, I mean, sales is very it's a very broad
Mhm.
profession, right? You can sell something that is very transactional, and that's going away because Amazon is taking all that away. You don't have to have a salesperson in your company even to sell transactionally anymore. Or you can have a very, very complex sales environment, right? When you're selling, I don't know, multi-year sales cycles, really difficult, complex solutions, and the types of skills that you need in those two very different sales environments are quite different, right? So
Mm.
just looking for one type of person is just not the right way to go about it if you don't first understand what type of sales environment you're in. And that was a mistake I made because we were actually moving away from selling quite a low price transactional products
Yeah.
into selling more high ticket, complex, very intrusive products. So they messed around with the buyer's processes internally in their company, which made that purchase for them very risky.
Yeah.
So I was looking for the wrong type of traits for the sales environment I was uh, trying to improve. So yeah, I think assumptions in general for human beings is something that can trip us up
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I mean, I think one of the principles that I've learned in my vast 36 years of life is that idea of assumption, right? That we just never ever assume. You can assume. And I've
Yeah,
made the mistake. I remember one of my leaders once, he said, when you make an assumption, when you assume, you're making an ASS out of you and me, you know, and
yeah, that's a good
and
saying. Yeah,
I'm like, oh, makes total sense. And I think you're 100% right on that. So we can't assume on the type of sales reps. And I think also you're saying that we can't assume if we're a sales rep, we can't assume that our business, that this person, because they say that they want our product, that means they're going to buy. Is that what you're alluding to with this whole idea of assuming as a seller?
yes. I mean, those are two ways that we can assume. We are assuming about ourselves. We're assuming about buyers. I think we also uh, this the buyers. If we can prove to buyers that we have a great product or offering,
Yeah.
uh, and if we can help them rationally see that this is a great choice, and we then assume that they will be rational about it. That's another assumption that people are rational when they make their decisions.
Mm.
They're usually not, right. This saying you buy with your heart and then you rationalize your your choice with your brain, and I think that's a lot of truth to that. So assuming that salespeople have certain traits, assuming that buyers will behave in different ways based on rational thoughts, and another assumption that I point out in the book is this idea of sellers somehow being more disciplined.
Mm.
That they will do whatever it takes to achieve the targets that I set up for them as the leader or owner or whatever role you have. Uh, and that was also something that after reading and just life experience, you find out that we as human beings aren't very disciplined.
Mm.
We have to really work on that, whatever in whatever discipline we're talking about. I mean, I have to work on actually doing my exercises every day,
Yeah.
but it takes effort, right? It would be much easier to skip it. So being disciplined is sort of, I don't know. It's not really about being. It's about getting those habits into your daily life that makes you look disciplined from the outside.
So understanding that our deals, so these are some of the top three things that you're looking at and you're seeing from your experience as a sales leader from working with organizations that's causing our deals to kibosh, that causing our deals to die. Um, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Holistically looking at
Yeah,
this, that's what's causing sales to, in general, sales teams not being very functional. If you sort of dive in and look at the actual deals, then of course we need to get a bit more granular, I think.
sure.
And if you look at the deal level, what we're seeing is that a classic example is that you're just talking to that friendly, right, on
Mm,
the other end. Someone who downloaded your white paper, listened to your show, called you up, and they're so happy just to speak with you, and you think, wow, I've got a deal. But of course, we know that you have to engage all the other people that need to be engaged in order to come to a decision that will make this deal come through. So I think that's a massive, maybe the top one really in B2B, is not understanding how will this decision be made? Is there even a decision to be made? Because
interesting.
they might find some other project to work on, right? So just figuring out how they will make a decision and which people will be involved, I think is the number one thing killing deals.
So when you look at some, some companies, they have like they follow like BANT or they follow different methodologies to be able to get that information. Is that something that your team or that you express to individuals to figure out in that first meeting? And if so, how do you encourage them to go about doing that? Um, I just want to get your feedback. We have
Yeah.
a lot of new sellers listening to this episode.
Yes, sure. And there are many, many different methodologies on how you should qualify,
Yeah.
how you should have an exploration call. I think they're all good, and they all have their benefits. In a first call, hopefully, you will have a dialogue with the other person and figure out what they're trying to accomplish. Like, what are they trying to solve? They're not out. They're not in business to buy your stuff. I mean,
Dang it.
they're dang it. They're in business to do whatever they're doing. So you have to understand what are they doing and what are they trying to accomplish? How could you help? So it's really about helping. I think that's sort of a mind shift that I think a lot of salespeople need to make. It's selling is about helping someone improve their situation. It's about helping someone buy, but beyond that is about helping them get from one place to a better place. And hopefully that involves you and your products, but sometimes actually it doesn't, right? But you can still help. You don't have to sell to everyone. I
Mm-mm.
think that's, we all, as sellers, we want to sell, of course, but if we sell to someone who really shouldn't buy our product, that's not a good situation. It's better to tell someone who's not a good fit, say, you know what, you should buy from my competitor. They're a
Yeah.
much better fit for you. Maybe in 2 years' time, when you have this situation, we can help you. But right now, if you buy my solution, I don't think it would be the best solution for you. So go buy that other thing right now.
Yeah.
That creates trust over time.
Yeah, because there's it for me as a buyer, if somebody was to do that to me, it shows me that you are not desperate for the money. You're not desperate for the opportunity. You're trying to really fix what issues that I have. And I think especially when we're new to sales or we're trying to hit quotas or we're going through a tough spell, that desperation comes off and it's smell. I think the
Yes.
buyers can just almost like smell it or feel it, and then that leads to you doing things that are questionable. And I love one of the points you point out in the book is about salespeople is that they think that their decision is being made based on logics and reasons, when oftentimes it's not based on logics and reasons. It's because of poor habits or choices that happened maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yep.
So how can we recognize that then and then transform that idea to behave to behave more logically then, if I'm making sense with that?
Well, I think we have to understand that people are people, and
Yeah.
and in part we're rational, but in a large part we're more emotional, and they depends on the complexity of the sale. I mean, I don't want to make things sound more complicated than they are. If you're selling something that one person can make a decision about, then don't overcomplicate it. But if you're in a complex B2B sales environment where there will be more people involved, then it's better to slow down in the beginning and talk about, I mean, the problem. What are you trying to accomplish? Who will need to be involved in this decision? What could happen? Have you made a decision like this in the past? What happened then? What went wrong? What went well, etc. So really have a very open discussion about the issue, right? The issue they're trying to accomplish. And after that, if you hear that you can solve the problem or help them solve it, then you can go into more detailed sort of solution-based ideas.
You say this, and like you said, it's very simple on the surface level. I don't know if you've come across this with sales rep. It seems like some of them, and I think it goes back to the picking of the right salespeople, where some of them are afraid to have that dialogue with a buyer because they feel that it may be too pushy, or it may be that you're getting you're getting too intrusive. But I mean, you got to get that information. Am I wrong on that, or have you seen that with sales reps, or where especially the newer ones, or the ones who are not performing, they're very timid and they're afraid of asking some of those questions? They're just like it's like if I ruffle the feathers too much, the buyer is not going to want to give me the answer. When it's, in my view, it's not true.
Right. I think as a new salesperson, I mean, if you're really new, there's a lot to learn. So it can be quite difficult to jump into a high-level business discussion with a C-level executive. You might not even be there yet. So you need to, of course, gain those skills in order to have that dialogue in a way that it creates value for the other person. So I think in part, it's easy to say have this value-creating dialogue and etc. Right? But you need. I think if you don't have all the skills needed, then you will be afraid to ask some of those questions because you don't know how to handle the responses. But you just have to get there, right? And I think it's okay to ask questions that might be a bit outside of your comfort zone. And say if someone responds to you in a way that you don't really know how to handle, say, well, this is a bit beyond what I can comprehend at this time, but this is how I interpret it. Did I get that right? Or so it's okay to be a bit vulnerable, I think, as a person, as a salesperson, especially if you're young and new. But you have to get out there and have those dialogues. Don't be afraid to ask a question. But I think it's really important to come across as caring.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to help, and we happen to have this solution and this product, and that can help you. But I really want to understand where you're going, where you're at, where do you want to go, and then I can show you how our solution might be a good fit. But I don't think I put it in the book, but I have sort of a model in my head that is trust, align, grow. So like a pyramid. So first you have to gain the trust of the other person, no matter if it's a professional relationship or a seller buyer or is your fiance. You have to trust each other, right? Or else there will be no future. And then you need to align. Like, how could we align? What do you want? What do I need? What do we both want? Can we align? If we can align, then we can grow. But a lot of salespeople and organizations just try to sort of jump right to grow. Like, if you buy my stuff, then we can grow this account. And there's so many things in sales that I think we're just terminology-wise, it's a bit messed up. Like accounts. For me, an account is something you withdraw from. I have a bank account. I can go withdraw money from my account. When we're calling customers accounts, I think it's like, should we really do that? Is that a good thing? Because we have to look at it as collaboration. I need to help you with something, and I have value I can bring to you in order for you to achieve whatever you need to achieve. So I will gain your trust. I will align with what you want to do, and I will help you grow. And if we're aligned, and if you trust me, then we'll grow.
Yeah. So with that, is it more of like the three sides to the pyramid, or is it like a base,
middle, top? Yeah, base, trust, right? If you don't have any trust, you'll get nowhere. You
Yep.
can ask all the questions in the book and take any methodology, but if the other person is not really respecting you or trusting you, you won't get far. I mean, you call it, I mean, and that's why social can be quite good. If you can build some kind of reputation on social
Yeah.
as being a helpful person, that can already establish some level of trust before you even have that meeting. And then when you have the meeting and you come across as a trustworthy person and you know what you're doing and you can have a good business dialogue, then they'll trust you even more.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important to start off with that trust. And trust also comes from just doing what you promise, right? So if you have a first call and you promise to do something, make sure you do that in time always,
Yeah.
because then the next time they'll trust you. So trust first, alignment, and growth.
One of the, I think we talked a lot about the assumption and, the first two, but the last one I want to talk about for a few minutes is discipline. As one
Yeah.
of the factors that prevents salespeople from winning and that's causing them to kill deals. Why don't you talk to that for a second? How is not being disciplined or the lack thereof hindering or causing us to miss the mark?
Yeah, I think it's just human nature to try to make shortcuts and right now I see a lot of spamming going on in sales.
Oh my
Right,
goodness, bro.
right. You buy these tools and you spam people because you're, I don't know, lazy, or you think you're gonna sign a bunch of deals without doing anything. And instead, if you would have taken the time to learn about your customer, you reach out to them professionally, you call them, you have a dialogue. I mean, that's where you want to get to without just spamming people. So if you call someone, and a discipline could be something as simple as calling someone, having a dialogue, booking another meeting, making sure that you do everything you need to do before that meeting, obvious one. If you create an opportunity, you talk to a friendly, and you know you have to identify four other people, and you don't identify those four people, you don't even ask who those other four people are, and that's undisciplined. That just means that even if it sounds like this other person is coming with you on this journey to buy your product on the sales process, you can be pretty sure that someone will pop up their head and say, hey, what are you two up to?
Yeah.
This is not a project we want to do. There's
Yeah.
no budget for this. What the heck is going on? So that's just undisciplined, because you know that this will happen every time. This was actually one of the main reasons I created this company that we now are growing, called MedBrain, because my salespeople in my former company did not want to talk to technical people, because they felt that was so uncomfortable. They didn't know how to talk to tech people. So they just skipped it. Like, well, the C-level, the executives will push the techs and make sure they say this is a great idea. But of course, that never happened. Instead, the tech people said, well, this thing you're trying to buy here to automate, because we were selling IT automation, to
Yeah.
automate my job is crap. Of course they said that, because they thought they were going to lose their jobs.
Of course.
And all because the salesperson was not comfortable talking to these guys. So we just have to coach the salespeople. You know what? These tech people will love you. And they go, no, they will never love me. They don't even like talking to me, because
Yeah.
they think I'm a stupid salesperson. No. It's just mindset shift here. You need to talk to them to explain to them that they didn't become tech people to update servers on a Thursday night when they could be at a game or be at home with their families. They can automate that and they can do fun stuff instead. That
Yeah.
will get them on your side. And they're like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. And then they started having those conversations, which tripled our win rates. That was
Interesting.
one thing only.
And I think what it comes back down to what you said a few minutes ago, it's the idea of going back to the human connection, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's being, because if I have clients and it's amazing that upsell where we don't even try to upsell them, but because we have conversation, you discover new problems that they're having or different challenges, then they naturally don't, they go back to your pyramid, right? They have that trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden we can see opportunities that develop and they come back to us over and over and over again because they know we're looking for their best interest. And it's because of that connection. I got an email this morning too, George. And this email it looked good. It
Yeah.
smelled like it was a real email, but then it got down to the very bottom. And obviously, I had a guest on my podcast, and one of the things he said was change that, to unsubscribe to if you don't want to hear from me again or something like that. And when you see that at the bottom, that's really the new name for the unsubscribe, because I wasn't automated. My name was in the email perfectly because it was a merge tag.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And it just didn't speak to me. They didn't, it's like,
Mhm.
it didn't try to, understand my business or try to understand what I was doing. And for that reason, I just hit delete, and
Yeah.
it didn't connect. So, but taking the time to do so, reaching out on LinkedIn, making something personal, the lack of the discipline is going to reflect in that pipeline. And obviously, when you guys discovered that, you saw a tremendous increase in those win rates, those
Yes, and
opportunities.
that's really one of the points I'm trying to make in the book, is that we don't have to overcomplicate things. Like,
No,
if we can find one or two things we can improve, that can make a massive impact on the results we see. Like, if you can always identify all the right stakeholders in every deal. I mean, if you have a sales team and you just focus on that for 1 year, just do that. You're going to improve your results massively. So it's really about mastering the basics of
mm,
sales, because a lot of times I see people want to take shortcuts, like, yeah, like the spamming thing that's now going on, right? We buy these tools and we send out these spams, and that's going to work. No, it's not going to work.
yeah,
Instead, take the time to educate yourself as a salesperson, educate your sales team to understand your buyers, to be interested, be curious, help them, be open, be friendly, be empathetic, and know what you're doing. Because that's even worse, I think, when you actually, because I respond to these emails sometimes just because I'm in the space.
you want to mess
uh, and it's like, oh, that's a very nice email. So what do you do? How can you help me? And you get a response which is just even worse than that first email. That just really pisses me off, because now your sucky email sequence got me to respond, and then you blow your chance to make a connection. That's
yeah,
even worse, I think. So really, you have to be relevant, you have to be interesting, you have to be interested. And I
yeah,
think sometimes that's what's missing. And understand that your buyers are human beings. They're people. They want to go forward. They're going to grow just like you, and they want to be a better person, hopefully, and build a better company. And now it's a strange time, right? So a lot of times right now when we talk to people, it's all about nobody's making any decisions. All the budgets are frozen, etc. And no, they're not. I mean, not everyone's. I mean, a lot of people are doing really well. A lot of companies are thriving. So you might need to change who you're selling to for a while, or maybe forever, but just be creative and be curious.
love that. One major takeaway you want folks listening to this episode from all the things we discussed, if there's one piece of advice you want them to leave with, what's that, George?
Identify, or have someone else maybe identify what's holding your deals back,
Mm,
and fix that one thing. Focus on that one thing that can help you improve your win rates. I think it's identifying all the stakeholders and understanding how why people should make a decision and how they will make that decision, but it might be a different one for you. But focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to do everything at once.
George, if people want to get access to your book, do you mind talking to that for a second, telling folks about it, how they can get access to it and all that good
Yeah,
stuff?
so see if I can show it. Stop Killing Deals. It looks like that.
Looks good.
So just search for it on Amazon and get it from there. There's also a website, stop.killing.deals. Pretty cool URL, if I may say so. And there are lots of resources people can download from that without even buying the book. So
Okay.
that could be a cool place to go to.
And you're pretty active on LinkedIn.
I am, yes, yeah, and I blog. I blog every week, and membrane.com/blog. You can subscribe to that. You get my posts. So yeah, I am. And my name is strange, so it's easy to find me there and hook up with me.
Well, we'll have it in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube on TSE TV, you can see George's name right there underneath his image. But George, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. Thanks for your wisdom, and congratulations on the book and all the great things you and Membrane are doing.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on the show.
That was George Bronton, and if you would like to get a chance to connect with George, if you're intrigued by Membrane, you can also go ahead and click on a link. If you're watching this on TSE TV on YouTube, just scroll down below. You'll see some of the links. Click on that, as well as you can see it pop up on the screen. But check out Membrane, learn about some of the cool things they're doing. In addition to that, I want you guys to check out Pipedrive. They're giving us an amazing offer. I mean, think about this. Pipedrive typically gives a 14-day trial, but for you as a TSE listener, they're giving you a 30-day trial, extended trial. That's amazing. And then on top of that, you get 25% off the first 3 months. Check out Pipedrive. Check out how it can help you to have more meaningful conversations, and those conversations turn it into actually customers. This is amazing. It's a great tool. As always, I share stuff like this because I want you to succeed. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you actually reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.